The first intention, when you talk about intention, the Bible very openly says God is love, which means God, without love, there is no Bible, there is no God, there is nothing. It's just nothing. Everything that the Bible talks about has the foundation of love. Okay, it's like this. Our family, we play the Jenga blocks. Have you guys played Jenga blocks in family? So it is that block that if you remove, everything will collapse. It's that very important block. You can add miracles, you can add knowledge, you can add wisdom, all of that. But if it is not built on top of the foundation of love, everything collapses. There is no Bible, there is no Bible story, there's no cross, there's no Christ, there's no us. Okay, everything will be void. So let's go to creation. All right, so the very first word in the Bible says, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. And that creation story, why did God create the world? Okay, so I've put those keywords in your screen that you can watch, is that God wanted some relationship, okay, to talk to people, to have a bond with people, to communicate, right, to sacrifice, okay, to be selfless, right, and then also enjoying the success of others, which means if somebody else is happy, we can be happy by seeing them being happy. And without love, none of this makes sense. Okay, so I was thinking about this analogy, right? So it's about kids. It's about having kids. A couple, they get married, they have kids. But do you guys? I mean, all the young people sitting here, kids are the most annoying. They don't let you sleep. Okay, you'll have to constantly feed them. Okay, they are not very pleasant to, it's very difficult. But yet, why would humans go and have kids? Why? Why to bring forth something that is going to take your time away, that's going to cost you a lot of money? There's a lot of risk involved. Why would parents do that? Why did our parents do that? Why did my parents bring me up? Even though I was very, very difficult to bring up. It's because when love comes, all the, you can hide all the bad things. I mean, I was an annoying kid, so what? My parents still loved me. Okay? For them, the relationship, the communication, and the sacrifices they made to bring me up, okay, that made more sense in their life than thinking about, this kid is not going to let me sleep. I have to provide for this kid. I have to work hard for the kid. Somebody sent me a video about this dad who's driving home from work. Okay, he's driving his truck, and he switches on this phone, and he says, guys, every day I go home for this. And then he's going near his house, and his garage opens, and this angel of his daughter is waving her hand. And he says, every day I come from work, she's waiting there. When she hears the truck, she's waiting for me. And he says, that's the reason why I'm happy and I live. Okay, the very reason for my happiness is that angel. That's what he tells about his daughter. So it's all about sacrificing. It's about giving giving our happiness, and struggling hard for somebody who will be happy. Like if my son is successful, I'm happy and proud. Okay, it never happens in the world. Okay, at work, if you get a salary raise or if you get a promotion, is everybody happy for you? They might say yes, they are happy, but they are not, right? Many are like, how can that person get, and I'm not getting the salary hike, right? You have jealousy and all of that. But how many parents are jealous of their kids? They're not, because they're so happy to see their kids grow. They're happy in their success. Okay, Abel is sitting here. So last Saturday, when was your finals, championship finals? Friday. So he's in a basketball team. He went and played. He qualified till the finals, but they lost in the finals. But such a proud moment. My son is part of a team where they're runners up, but I'm still happy, proud of my kid. Why am I happy for somebody else? It's not me. I'm not getting any credit for that. Somebody else is happy, but that's my son. Okay? So love can make you happy when others are happy. Okay? Which without love will not work. So think of this analogy and think about God. That's exactly God had as a plan. If God had not created humans, he doesn't have to go through all, this whole thing that is happening, right? Humanity and, maintaining humanity and, he taking that extra effort. Nothing. He could have just happily stayed and existed like everybody else. But his hope was that when I create these beings, they would obviously do things wrong, they would be annoying, they would be needy, I have to provide and all of that. But yet, I know it's going to be a tough time, but I'm going to love them. I'm going to still sacrifice, I'm going to communicate. And that's why, if you look at the Bible, God created the heavens and the earth, he created man and woman, and what did he do? He put them in the Garden of Eden, and he said, go, eat the fruits, cultivate, name the animals, enjoy. I'll come in the evening where we can talk. Okay, there's a time he said you can give it to me, but the rest of the times, just enjoy, just have fun. That's what God did. But if you look at, if you go to the next slide, why? But why did God create us? I was always thinking, who are we? Who am I, right? For God to love me. So I put some science stuff. I think the young people here would love it. But the whole world, as it is, is actually measured, the basic is light. Okay, the speed of light, it's 300 kilometers per second. And they say that light can travel 7.5 times around the world. Okay, you start at a point, within a second, 7 times it has gone all around which means if I travel in the speed of light, you know what? I can go to India, I can come back. I can go to India and come back 7 times in 1 second. Okay, my mom can be here right now and she can go back to India. Right? So that's how fast it is. And it says, I put the word Big Bang. Okay, everybody knows the word Big Bang. It's a word that I'm not supposed to use from the pulpit, all right? But the scientific community says Big Bang is the origin of the universe. Okay, they say that something blew up. Okay, so if something like exploded here, obviously the exploded materials would just fly, all right? So when it flies, it doesn't spread all the way. At some point, it'll just fall on the ground. But when you talk about the universe exploding, there's nothing to fall on the ground. So it's just exploded, and things are just expanding and traveling. Okay? So it's traveling at the speed of light. So which means, so far, they say, it has traveled 46.5 billion light years. So 1 light year is how much light can travel in a year. Have you guys learned at school? Yeah. Right? Yeah? So I have a smart son. He's going to university. Thank God. All right? So 1 year, if light can travel 300 kilometers in 1 second, imagine in 1 year how long light has to travel. And imagine if that is traveling for 46.5 billion years. That's how huge the universe is. So they say the length or the distance of the universe from one end to the other is 93 billion light years. 93 billion light years. Okay? So it's vast, right? My question to, I debate with scientific community and I talk about, these kind of arguments. And my only question is, okay, if everything started with an explosion, where was the explosion? Who caused the explosion? What was there before the explosion? Right? So these are the questions that the scientific community cannot answer. Is that right? So we serve a God who is beyond what you and I can even talk or predict or even perceive, right? And the reason I'm talking about all these things is you're talking about such a big God. Okay, we humans cannot process the whole thing about, okay, so 93 billion light years is the length, the distance of the. What is after that? Where is this thing going inside? Who created it? Okay, if there are many universes, where are those universes contained within? It is, you cannot imagine. Okay, we live in a time where we cannot, or we live in a world where our brains cannot process more than what it is. So that's why I put that word there. It says we are stuck in between two extremes. I'm talking about the vastness of the universe, right? But that is the infinite universe that we're talking about when you go bigger. But when you go smaller and smaller, you see things, then through a microscope you can zoom in, and that is another infinity, which means you can go smallest and you can go largest. We don't know the limits on both sides. There is a smallest, which we don't define, we cannot define. There is a largest, which we cannot define also. So we are stuck in between these two extremes, which is biggest and smallest, and we think we know everything. Okay, sometimes we question God. Sometimes we think we know it all. Okay, we think, oh, the Bible is, it's just an old book. I mean, God is just a fairy tale. We say all of that by not knowing a simple thing about how big is the universe. Okay, how small can we get? What is the reason how I'm talking? What is making me talk? What is death? What is birth? Okay, what happened? None of it. We have very, very, very little information about it, very, very little knowledge, but we feel that we know everything. We question God. Okay, so we're going to watch a video, if it's ready, and this would explain whatever I told. All right, so I think the video gives you a snapshot of how, you see, there is a big infinity and there is a small infinity also. Okay, so I was actually looking at, if you go to the next slide, I was doing some research about what are these different, how far have we gone in, right? So I told you about the vastness of space. I mean, if you start zooming in, the smallest, long time back, like 20, 30 years back, we were said everything is made up of molecules. You're a bunch of molecules put together. And somebody went and dig through molecules and said, oh, there are atoms inside, which is actually, making the molecules work. And then they, again, opened the atoms, and then they found there is a nucleus and electrons going around them. And then recently they found that the quarks power the electrons, right? And then there are these muons, gluons, and neutrinos. These are all high, science concepts. And I wanted to know where it ends, right? Where are we currently? And I found that Higgs boson, okay, you see that word Higgs boson? That's what they've identified so far. And I was reading through what is that Higgs boson. They say it's a quantum ripple, ripple. It's just, some things that are just rippling, it's shaking. And that is causing the muons to work, and that's causing the quarks and then the nucleus and all of that. So I was thinking, oh my God. So in a million years from now, when our science and technology has become like unbelievably big and all of that, I think we'll still be thinking, we'd still be saying, we don't know the theory of everything. Do you think we would have found out what is death, who is God, what is universe? I doubt. And the scientific community is also saying, yes, I don't think so, because it's too much to comprehend with this little brain. So the reason why I'm putting all of this is, who are we? Insignificant. Extremely insignificant. But the faith that we have is that a creator who created all that I showed, right, created us and is interested in us. And that's where it is. He just didn't create and just throw us on the street. But all that he's done, and he is interested in us, and he wants to be a father to us. And he wants to communicate, right? All through the love that he has for us, okay? So this is the time for us to understand that we are nothing but with God's love, okay? His intention was love, and with love, he has chosen us, and he's chosen us as his son and daughter, okay? So if that is the case, when he created out of love, if you read the entire Bible, it is the concept of love that has survived us all through, right? So when Adam and Eve sinned against God, it was very easy for God to just blow fire and destroy them, but it was love that made him not destroy. And then during the time of the great flood, during Noah's time, he decided that, you know what, it's enough, and I'm done with these people. But then, even then, it was love that made God, hold off the decision. And then, if you read the Bible, it's about judges who came and ruled the people, then prophets, there were kings. We kept failing God, okay? But it was love that sustained. And ultimately, God himself had to come down as Christ and prove that love is bigger than everything, okay? So his birth, his life, his death, his resurrection, all is a symbol of love that God showed for us. So that is the intention, okay? I think here, however long God, waits to come back and take us with him to heaven, and all the prophecies of the Bible to fulfill, as long as we are, as a humanity, living on earth, I think love will sustain us. Okay? Love from God will sustain us. We might be doing more bad things, so many things against God, but it will sustain us. So if this is such a pure form of love that God shows, I want to go to the next, where we want to see what is the deception. Okay, so if love is so pure and it can sustain, it can sacrifice, it can communicate, it can build relationship, what's the deception? So if you go proceed, the deception is very simple. Whenever there is a purpose that God has laid, just work against it. Just go against it. Very, very simple. If God says, everybody lie, lying is honorable, you'll see that people trying their best to speak the truth. Don't you think? But God says, don't lie, speak the truth. So we are trying so much hard to lie. All right? So if you read the Bible, right from the Garden of Eden, God said, don't eat the fruit. What did we do? We ate the fruit. Read through all the Bible, God says don't do it. We obviously do it. Look at our world today. I always quote my children. The same happens at home. Don't touch it. That's exactly what they're going to touch. Don't do that. Exactly, they're going to do that. Because there is always a deception, which is work against God's plan and somehow destroy that love that God has for us. Okay? So in order to explain that, if you go to the next slide, it's very important for you young people to listen to this one, which is, these are the three things. This is not a theory that I took from a book. This is something that I came up with. But I hope you all would agree with me that the three fundamental things that humans want are these three. Okay? And it's in the order of preference too. Number one is food. You guys agree? Look at all the animals. You have a dog at home. You have a cat. What is it looking for all the time? All the time, 24/7. What is it looking for? Food. It's only food. Okay? Plants. What are they looking for? When they grow up, they are going towards the sun to get the photosynthesis, whatever that process is happening. Under the soil, the root goes to fetch water, minerals. Food is number one. That is what every organism is looking for. Second one is safety, which is protection of life. So while every organism, every animal is looking for food, they're equally very alert about the dangers, because if they don't live, then the whole point is gone. Okay, so to live, to survive, they need food, but also they need to protect themselves to be alive. So, in our backyard, there's a lot of bunnies, they come in, right? They have the bunny ears. They're always pointing up. But you know what the bunny is doing? It is eating grass, or it is eating stuff from the ground. But the ears constantly scanning. Is there a vulture or some bird, an eagle up there? Is there a snake trying to pounce? It knows, okay? So the moment it senses danger, what does the bunny do? It has a burrow. It runs inside to protect itself. So safety for life is the next priority. Okay, so that's what the deer, if you see deer in the forest, that's what they do, right? Because as they graze the grass, they're equally alert about what danger is around. And the last one is to reproduce. If they don't reproduce, then they're going to extinct. They're going to go extinct. They don't want it, right? So what they do is that, unlike humans, animals have they call it the mating season. So there's a particular time in a year or in a few years that they had to go through the biological process in order to reproduce, and that's how every organism survives. Do you guys agree? Is there anything I missed there? Everything that you see, can talk about, will come in the next priority. So, young people, you have to understand this, that humans are special. Okay, I talk to a lot of non-Christians, so you'll see a lot of non-Christian terms that I use, like evolution or humanity and stuff like that. But literally, God's creation, in God's creation, humans are special. Are we special? Why? Because God created us in His own image. He did create the dog, the lion, the honeybee in His own image. He created you and me in His own image. So we are special. But in the regular secular world, humans are civilized. Okay, we are highly civilized. The dog has been the same dog for 100,000 years, but humans, 100,000 years back, whatever we are 100 times, 1,000 times better than them. Why? Have you ever sat and thought, why? Why did the cat civilize, have a democratic nation? Why don't they wear clothes and learn how to write? But humans did, right? We are at the top of the curve. We are like high. Any idea why? I didn't hear. We know multitask, yeah? Yes. Whatever you say. You know what we did? We had morality in these three things. Okay? Humans, we have morality attached to food, safety, and reproduction. I'll explain that, and I hope you can relate yourself to it. While animals are scavenging for food, even the lion, when it catches its prey and it brings it, you know how much struggle it has to before it eats it? There are hyenas coming to take it away, other lions coming to snatch it away. Even though it has a big kill, at the end, a lion would have only a small portion because, others come and snatch it away from the lion, right? So while there is this bloodbath going on among the animal kingdom for food, we humans, you and I, we created this occupation called agriculture. Okay? We learned how to sow seeds, how to water them, how to cultivate them. And we have this occupation called farmers who actually make these goods. And then what do? We have stores where we sell them. Okay? And you and I, you can't go to a store and just take whatever you want. To get those, what do we need? Money? You need money. So how do you earn the money? We need food. We need to buy food. How do you earn the money? So that's why you go to school. That's why your parents say go to college. Okay, go to university. Because during your young age, you gather skills so that when you're old enough, you show value, you put your skill into action, you get money, you take that money, and that money that you earn is yours. Nobody can steal it from you. You can go to a store, put it on the counter, buy stuff, take home, you can cook, you can buy a burger, you can eat, that's yours. Okay? Why don't we fight like the humans? When I buy a burger from McDonald's, why can't a guy come and beat me up and take the burger and eat? Why not? Because we brought in what I call morality into food. And that's why we earn to eat. I can't eat anything, right? I can't eat like a very, very expensive food because I don't earn that much. I have to have my lines drawn. And the line that I draw is called morality. Okay? I live by rules. And the rule is I have to work hard to eat. I can't just sit in the street and then expect to eat. Okay? So that's food. What and all did we do more than that? We said we'll come up with breakfast, lunch, dinner, and we know calories, we know energy, we know everything. We have all the things written on that, and then we have diet. And look how much we have advanced. Right? We're so special. Our food, we have culinary things. We have taste. We have food that looks good. So many things. While the animal kingdom is fighting for raw food. Okay? They're killing each other for food. Look how much we've advanced. And it's because we have discipline. We have morals. We put a line and said, we live by rules, and that's what it is. Let's go to safety. While animals are killing each other, okay, eating each other and all of that. How many of us are scared for our lives? How many of you walked out of your door this morning thinking, oh, I'm going to be killed? No, because again, we brought morality into safety. We said we'll form a community, okay? We'll bring up law. Let's bring up law, okay? Let's bring court to serve justice. Let's bring the policemen to protect us. So if somebody is threatening you, you can call 911, and there are officials coming to protect you. All right, so which a lion cannot do. A deer can a deer call 911 and get protection? No, because they don't have any morality in terms of, they don't have a line. Whereas we humans have a line. We said, this is my right, and anything above that is violation of rights. So there is somebody to come and protect you, to help you. And the same with reproduction. Okay? Do you know humans can, everybody can reproduce all the time. But what have we done? We put a line. We said, okay, it's a family. God has created man and, I want you to say that, man and woman. And what did he say? The man will leave his parents and go with the woman. And they have to come up with children. And if you read Deuteronomy 6, it talks about how you have to bring your children. And then the Bible says one woman, right? One wife and one husband. Two people make a couple. Is that right? And then you have kids. You train your kids in the knowledge of God. You teach them good things. You teach them respect. You bring them up. Morality. We brought in morality. Animal kingdom. Is there a husband and wife? Is there family? Are there kids? None. Okay? So why I'm saying this is that the deception here, if you see, is that slowly and steadily there is a deception to take that value, the moral values, away. Is that right? Of the reproduction, the how we become more and how we continue to exist is through reproduction. Do we have problems there today in our world? Yeah? Do we have issues in that side, on that side? Yeah? Yep. There are so many places, contraceptions. I'm sorry to say all this out from here, but I think I have to say these things. Contraceptions, abortions, and infidelity. It's all there. And what is it harming us? Where is it touching us? Or where is it destroying? That concept of a family. The one thing I think everybody is working towards is destroying the structure of a family. Right? If you normalize infidelity or this, if you break a family, then I think we can break a society. We can break everything, and that's what is going on, right? You all agree to that? And something that young people should know, that all that you hear today, right, all the agendas and activism and all that you see, is because God in the Bible said, hey, there'll be a man and a woman. They will together form a family. They will bring kids. They will bring offsprings. And they will nurture them. And in the future, they will also go and have their own families. And that's how we grow. We want to somehow break that. Okay? And that's exactly why we have all the stuff today. It's very easy to, go out of the moral code and do anything you want, right? Anything. Nowadays, when I read the news, when I look at these activisms and all of that, I'm like, oh my God, the final thing that everybody wants is to break that structure of the family. Because once you break the structure of the family, the young people, I don't want to get married. I don't want to have kids. So if you bring that into the society, then you can naturally destroy humanity altogether. But once you do that, so let's say there is no family. Okay, you don't have to, I said family means you have to have kids, you have to sacrifice, you have to struggle, you have to put up with them. But if you say that all of this is too much to handle, I don't want anything, I want to be myself, I'm selfish, I'll be to myself. What is the next thing? The next thing you'll see, slowly the world will proceed to safety where people will start beating each other up because you no longer have any value. Whom do you have to live for? You don't know what sacrifice is. So you start beating each other up for food. Then finally, at one day, we cease to exist. And that is what is the plan. So why did I talk so much about deception and this? Is that you need to understand there is a calculated agenda, right? There's a very calculated agenda to little by little, okay? To little by little. If I come and tell you that, hey, whatever's happening today, 10 years back, if I talk about that, you would say, come on, how is it possible, right? How can, right? So Pastor and Brother Chris went to Calgary to take a decision on something that's very important, key today in our churches today. 10 years back, do you think if I told that, or 20 years back, do you think everybody would be like, John, come on, kidding. How can you bring that to church? But it is happening. So which means imagine 20 years from now. Okay? So if there is a calculated effort to destroy family, to bring humanity down, just like how the devil schemed to bring down the understanding of God and humans in the Garden of Eden. My question is, what can save us? What do you think can save you from that deception? Do you know what that is? It's love. It's pure love. Only God's love can save us. So what can you and I do is, first of all, understand that there is this big deception going on, but we are covered under the love of God. Okay, so when you, as young people, when you grow up, okay, have that in your heart, all right? Your friends might say, oh, what is wedding? What is marriage? Right? Just live their life. What is honorable? I was talking in a discussion, and this is very sad what I'm saying, right? In a discussion like this, in a debate, I was stressing this fact of morality to a group of people who are non-Christians. And one person got really mad at me. He's like, how dare you say morality? Who defines morality? What is morality? Can you define morality? You know what I said? As a person, if you tell me I don't know what morality, that is immorality. As a society, if your school didn't teach you morality, if your parents didn't teach you what morality is, if your church didn't, if there is no line by which you're governing your body, your life, that itself is immorality. That is the very, very definition of lack of morality. So being honorable is what I wanted to talk to young people and everybody. So which means in this society that we live, a loveless society where there's a lot of deception going on, where does honor come? Okay. Again, I watched this testimony of a U.S. veteran, an army person who, during his course of the army, I think he had a what do you call that? Some heart nervous issue, and he's slowly losing his senses, and he's bedridden and all of that. His wife was giving the testimony of how she loves him, and how she continues to love him and take care of him, even though he's like kind of invalid. He can only smile and nothing else. He can't talk, he can't move. And one thing she said really touched my heart, and young people, that's for you, is that she said, my husband is an honorable man. Okay. When I heard that, I'm like, oh my God, my wife, someday she'd say, I don't want her to say he's a smart guy. He's an intelligent guy. He's a good preacher. All of that I don't want. Can my wife or my parents or you guys say he's an honorable man? And the reason why she said that was when they got engaged, when he popped the question and they got engaged, she said they went to a cabin at the lakeside for a weekend trip. Okay? And when they went to the weekend trip, she said, one time for a photo shoot post, he had to carry me. So that's the only time he laid hands on me. All of the time, he was honorable. Okay, such a gentleman. When I heard that, yes, I think we should also be honorable. Okay, we should, because you can always argue saying, hey, there's no line. Who defines the line? What is a line? What is morality? What? You can always, and then many times you'll justify that. But being honorable means having a line. All right? And we, children of God, that line is Christ. Okay? Christ defines. You have the Bible in your hands. Okay? You know what the line is and being honorable. While everybody is slowly and subtly falling into this trap of destroying this human life, I think we as children of God should hold on to the love of God and try and survive. So if you go to the next slide, I like this verse. I think every Christian should be like this. Okay? The Bible says when the Lord looked down, and the human race was bad. Okay? He regretted, why did I create this human race? At that time, there was one family that stood, that honored the love that God had for them. And what did they do? They stayed away. And that's the only reason that God planned to protect the entire human race. Okay? So, being honorable is probably the key. Is that right? Do you guys think, young people? Do you think honorable, being honorable? Because you can be the smartest, you can be the most richest, you can have, you can have the great gadgets in your hand. All of that is awesome. But being honorable surpasses everything. Okay? Have that in your mind. So if you go to the next slide. So what's the redemption? So if the world is going on like that, what is the fate? What is going to happen? That's what Christ gave us his birth. And he lived a life of honor. He died for us. And what is the reason he died? He could have easily escaped. Said, I didn't do anything. Give me a proof of what wrong I did. He took on himself through the sacrificial love. But he's so great that death couldn't hold him. So he had to be resurrected. And then he's promised to come back. Okay? You and I, what did we do for him to come back? We crucified Christ, right? Why should he come back? The reason is the love, okay? The love, the unimaginable, unfathomable love that he's going to come back and take us with him, and we're going to live in heaven for eternity. Again, why? Because of love, okay? So God's intention of creation, his whole point is the foundation of love. And he expects you and I to be honorable, to be respectful of his intention. Okay? He wants you and I to be aware of the deception and be like Noah's family, where we are away from everything. Even though we are among the world, we are not of the world.